I tip over as close to the camera as I can. So I get a hand then. I'm Levi LaVallee, and welcome to my dream. I believe you can have anything in life if you just want it bad enough. Now grab your helmet and let's get to living. 5 850s. We rode all 5 of them in the last 2 days, and it is like, oh my goodness, it's fun. It's fun. I'm a little bit beat up though from it, like, cause I was like riding a lot and like doing a lot of like carving, a lot of jumps, a lot of railing through trails, like just lots of fun stuff. So that's why I'm having my Red Bull right now, to get a little bit more energy. So we did them all, and you know, snow is a little bit minimal right now. We probably have like 12 to 15 inches maybe at best, and you get down into the grass and whatnot when you're doing any kind of powder turns or carving. But in the ditch, you can get into some decent snow to kind of do some carves. But we have the 5 different ones are the new Indy XCR 129. Then we had the XCR, Switchback XCR 136, the 137, new Indy 137 XC. We had the 144 Switchback Assault, and then we had the 146 SKS. And all 5 of them excel in different areas, are good at different things. And that's what I love about those sleds. It's like, it's so nice having all of them and being able to go out and ride them, try them in all these different scenarios, and then be able to tell people about it. Because it's like, I would have a really hard time just going to a dealership and saying, hey, I want that one. And it's like, well, is that the sled that's right for you is the question. And that's like the beauty of being able to go out and ride them all and try them, is you get to see where they excel and what sled matches your riding style. And that's what was fun. You know, we didn't really get into it too deep today. It's only like the first real ride that we've been on them all. So I wasn't able to really dig in, but it's very distinct which ones do what better. You know, and we'll start with the Indy XCR, the new 129. And that sled, you know, after riding it for these 2 days, you know, the thing is a missile on the trail. It handles the trail so good. The suspension is a little bit more firm. So if you get into the smaller chatter, unless you turn the clickers down, it's a little bit firm for the small chatter, but we lucked out. We hit perfectly groomed trails today. So it was awesome for that. But where it like really excels is the harder hits. It did really well, but also like ditch banging, I was having a blast on it. You know, I have an 1.75 inch lug track on it. So the thing gets really good traction. So I'm able to like pull wheelies because it's a little bit shorter, and it's like really good at jumping. You know, suspension is stiff enough where you can do a lot of the jumps. You can do a lot of the different jumps where some of the other ones, you know, you definitely would bottom out and you'd feel it. So the XCR, you know, if you're thinking trail and ditch banging, the Indy XCR 129 is definitely the ticket for sure. The XCR 136, on the other hand, you know, it's a really good trail sled. Goes down the trail really well, and it does really well even in the like bigger bumps and stuff, because it is a little bit firmer suspension. But what's nice about the XCR 136 is the length. You know, you get into that bridging of the bumps, you know, so it's a little bit smoother and some of the rougher stuff on the trails. And I think that really is really nice. And then with the Pro CC rear suspension, or with the Pro XC, rear suspension, it actually is really good on the bottoming resistance. So when you get into a hard bump, like the suspension ramps up, so it gets stiffer. So it's real progressive, so it takes those hard hits really well. So it's a really good trail sled. Carving, not as much. It's a harder sled to carve. So it's just, you can just kind of feel the Pro XC rear suspension. You can feel it kind of dragging. It just feels like it's a little bit harder to get on edge and to keep it there. But overall, it's super super fun sled. The new Indy 137 is, I really like that. So this was the first time getting to ride that one, you know, going out and actually putting some time on it. I will say this, I took the clickers, and knowing from the Indy XC last year, the 129, the suspension was a little bit too soft for me. So the first thing I did was I cranked all the clickers. I was like all the way in, like 2 clicks out from all the way in. So it was like about as stiff as you can get it. And it actually did really well in the ditches. Like you could jump some smaller stuff, nothing, you couldn't go really deep with any jumps or anything. But when you go that stiff, the issue is it's not as supple in the smaller bumps. So they kind of get a little bit like bouncy and deflecting off stuff. So that's the disadvantage to making the suspension stiffer. But it actually did really well in the ditch banging situation or category. Not quite as well as the Indy XCR, but still like a pretty functional jumper. And it was a little bit better like side hilling. I did a little bit of side hilling, carving with it. And just with a little bit of extra length, you can really tell that it holds better than the 129 did. But not near, you know, it's not in the ballpark with the 144 or the 146, but still a really good overall sled. I would say if you were looking for, if you were a trail guy, and you like going off trail, you know, maybe 30% of the time, maybe 40% of the time, you like doing a little bit of ditch banging, it was a lot of fun. The other thing I have is I have the Storm 150 Camzo track on that one. And so it has a 1.5-inch lug in the center, and they're like scoops, and it actually bites in really good. And then with the 1.25 inches on the edges, I really like it because even with the 137, you're still able to tail slide. You can really tell that the back end will come around. It'll be loose when you want it. So I really like that aspect of it, just to kind of like, you know, you pitch it into a turn or something like that. So it's a really, overall, that's really fun sled. Really one of my favorite ones. The Switchback Assault 144, you know, I said it last year too. It is like, it's probably, if you're an off-trail, on-trail guy, I would say it's 50-50, right down the middle. It does them both really well. You can go carving on that thing. You can, you know, I have the 2-inch paddle on mine, and it's, you know, it hooks up so you can do like, I was ripping wheelies on it and stuff like crazy. And it also like, it gets on edge pretty well, and you can like maneuver pretty well like that. But it also, because it's full width, you can rail down the trails. And the thing that I've noticed about the 144 with the 2 inches, you actually have really good stopping power. Like you can stop a lot better, I feel, with that on the trail. So that's like something to think about too if you're going to go trail riding. I haven't had the smaller lug ones. I've always had a 2-inch paddle, and that's one thing that I always notice about that 144 is I think with that extra track and those deeper lugs, it really has good stopping power on the trail. So that sled was, you know, that one's been awesome. You know, it's been a great machine since they came out with it. I really like that one. And the SKS 146, that sled, I really have a lot of fun on it because it's narrower, so you can really carve. Like it carves extremely easy compared to, like, I went from Switchback XCR 136 to the SKS 146, and I almost tipped over the first time. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this thing it wants to be on edge. So it took me a minute to get in the swing of things, but it's so nice for carving. It's so predictable carving once you get used to like, okay, this is like really easy to carve. But it also is, it's actually pretty decent on the trail if you go to the wider ski stance. If you put the skis a little bit wider, you can get like 41 inch, I believe. And when you have it at 41, it's pretty decent on the trail, and it's still pretty decent off trail. But I always keep it in the narrow setting just because it's like so nice for carving. And then if I'm going out and I'm going to go carving, I take that sled because it's just so much fun. You know, you find some good snow, whether it's like the ditch has good snow and you're the first one to it, you can do some awesome side hilling there. Or if you find like a field that's got some fresh snow that you can go on. I mean, it's really good like that. Like a UP situation, I think it'd be great there. And even like some spring ride in the mountains, you might be able to sneak it out there. I might try doing a little bit narrower front end. Even then, I think it goes down to 39-inch. I would even see if you could go even narrower yet. And then it would probably be a lot of fun in the mountains too, like spring riding with spring snow. 5.850s, they all rip. And I don't even have them all broke in yet. And they're already like flying. It is such a hoot having, you know, a different flavor for all the different conditions. And, you know, that's the fun thing about having it. If you guys have any questions about the sleds, you know, make sure to comment below. Let me know, you know, what sled you have and what sled you're thinking about, or if you have any questions just in general about those 5 sleds, because I've rode them all, other than the 137. I rode them all. Well, I take that back, and the Indy XCR, but I had an Indy XC last year, and we actually beefed one up into like a jump sled for me. So it was closer to the Indy XCR now. So I've been on all those sleds before. I had some time. If you have any questions or thoughts on them, let me know. And I mean, I'll gladly tell you my thoughts on the different ones and help you get the sled that hopefully works best for you. So thank you guys very much. I'm excited for the next ones. We got some really fun videos coming up. So be sure to stay tuned. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification so when we come out with a new one, you'll know about it and you can check out the new stuff, because it's going to be a lot of fun this year. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.